This is One Sentence News, a daily podcast featuring 3 news stories with a sentence-long summary and 1 sentence of context apiece. I'm Colin Wright. This is a sponsored message. I've been using Anchor as my podcast host for a while now, and it's been a pleasure to use. Anchor offers benefits that most other hosts do not. It's free to use, but it also has a collection of tools that allow you to create a podcast completely within the Anchor website or smartphone app. They distribute your show to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the other distribution channels without any additional effort on your part, and you can make money from your podcast without any minimum audience size. So you can use it as a more traditional podcast host like I do, but it's also got everything you need to start a podcast from scratch. If you're keen to give it a shot, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. It's Friday, June 17th, 2022. Let's talk about the news. From Al Jazeera, China's Xi reaffirms support for Russia's security concerns. According to the Russian government, Chinese President Xi reasserted his support for Russia's actions in Ukraine during a phone call on Wednesday. Some analysts have wondered if Xi might angle for a way out of the agreements and public declarations of friendship he made with Putin's Russia right before Russia invaded Ukraine, a move that reportedly irritated China. But this report that their support stands, despite Xi calling for what he called the Ukrainian crisis to be settled soon, suggests that the two countries' partnership may still be quite strong, and may grow still stronger if the leaders see the reinforcement of NATO and other Western alliances as a persistent, long-term threat. From Reuters, UN launches public fundraising drive to prevent Yemen tanker oil spill. An oil tanker that's been stranded off the coast of Yemen since 2015 could break into pieces soon, which could in turn spill around 1.1 million barrels of oil into the ocean, which is about 4 times the amount that spilled during the 1989 Exxon Valdez disaster. This tanker was originally stranded when a Saudi-led coalition began facing off with a group of Houthis who ousted Yemen's internationally recognized government, kicking off the still ongoing Yemen civil war. It's estimated it'll cost about $144 million to unload all that oil and then store it, but the UN has only managed to secure $60 million from governments around the world so far. It's estimated it would cost about $20 billion to clean up the spill if the tanker breaks up. So although that initial cost of salvaging it is high, it's far lower than what it would cost to clean up afterward, alongside the permanent damage such a spill would cause to the local ecosystem. And from the Wall Street Journal, Fed raises rates by 0.75 basis points, marking the largest increase since 1994. After saying they would likely raise a key interest rate by 0.5 basis point on Wednesday, the U.S. Federal Reserve instead upped it by 0.75 basis point, which is 0.75 percentage point, in the wake of recent inflation data. As this interest rate goes up, economic activity tends to go down, and the Fed's stated goal is to staunch inflation by cutting back on economic activity, which is possibly good news for consumers if it works, as inflation would then slow sooner than it would otherwise, and possibly bad news for folks with money in the stock market and similar investment vehicles, as the market seems primed to drop in the coming months following this and future projected Fed decisions, which may include another 0.75 basis point hike at the agency's next meeting. If you're finding some value in One Sentence News, consider leaving a quick review wherever you get your podcasts and/or sharing the show with a friend. You can find out more about this show or subscribe to the email version at onesentencenews.com. And you can support this and other related projects, like the Let's Know Things and Brain Lenses podcasts, at understandery.com.